Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Harpie Lady Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for October 2021. I always love updating the Harpie deck, and we are actually getting some new support for the Harpie deck. When we will be in the TCG, I still don't know. Maybe we'll get them as imports in the upcoming Burst of Destiny set, if that is the case, and we've already got the set revealed, support before this video even comes out. I'll definitely be happy with those results, but I am not sure, but whether the case, I always love updating the deck, but that support will definitely do help when we get it. But until then, I'll be just updating it with the TCG support that we have for the deck, including a wide variety of extra deck monsters and a bunch of awesome reprinted cards recently from the Legendary Duelist Season 2 booster box. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters, some of our main go-to ones, including Harpie Perfumer. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady, like the majority of the Harpie monsters in the deck, while on the field or in the graveyard. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster when you activate this effect, you can also add a second such card with a different name from the first, and you can only use this effect of Harpie Perfumer once per turn. So this is Search Power, a very, very useful card just to get different named Harpie cards to your hand. So with it, you have resources that you can add to your hand, including the Alluring Mirror Split, the Recycle card, Harpie's Feather Rest, you name it. You have all these available options to add to your hand with this card. So very, very strong for its Search Power, and then all together for the spell or trap for that Harpie Lady Sister Search Power. For more of the special summon power in the deck, I also run 3 Harpie Chandler. I don't know where I put my third Harpie Chandler. I have a Harpie Dancer just as a fill-in for the time being, since I don't actually run Harpie Dancer in the deck. But Harpie Chandler, you can discard one Harpie card to special summon one Harpie monster from your deck in defense position, except for Harpie Chandler. You can only use this effect of Harpie Chandler once per turn, and while you control a dragon monster, this card's level becomes 7. It gives you rank 7 Xyz plays, which I do like to run one rank 7 always in the extra deck for the Harpie deck, just to have those options available to you. And Harpie Chandler being able to summon out Harpie's pet dragon, I would say, is the easiest way to go about in doing this play. The play will definitely get stronger when we get the newer support with the newest Harpie pet dragon monster, but until then, we'll just have to make use for the original Harpie pet dragon in the deck. And then as for the original named Harpie monster, I also run 3 Harpie Lady 1. You can mix around the ratios for this card that I run in the deck with our next card as a 3 of instead of this one, but this card's name is always treated as Harpie Lady, and all win monsters gain 300 attack. So this has to be your go-to Harpie monster in the deck, aside from, the actual original Harpie, since it's always treated as Harpie Lady, unlike the other Harpie cards we run that get the name Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. I also run 2 Harpie Harpists. This can be your third of copy. If you were to do so, you could just reduce the number of Harpie Lady 1 that you run by 1, and running 2 of that, and then 3 of this card. It's Search Power. When this card is normal summon, you can target one other Wing Beast monster you control, and one phase of monster your opponent controls, return them to the hand. And during the end phase of this card's in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can add one level 4 Wing Beast monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. So with this card, you have Search Power in the form of being able to send it with cards like Harpie Chandler to the graveyard, then at the end of the turn, being able to then resolve the Search Power to get another useful Harpie card to your hand, using this card as that discard resource. For some of the one-ofs for the Harpie monsters, I also run 1 Harpie Queen. This card can search out your go-to field spell, which is Harpie's Hunting Ground, capable of destroying plenty of your opponent's spell and trap cards on the field. The 1 Harpie Oracle, with this card, its name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or graveyard. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. A lot easier to summon out now, thanks to Cyber/Harpie Lady, when we can summon this card out being a level 8 Harpie monster. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its text during the end phase of this turn. Recycle Power, once again, in the form of other cards like Harpie Harpist, but also being more of a card that relies on Harpie Lady Sisters. I'm running 1 of this card in the deck, just another easy card to summon out with Elegant Egotist. We run multiple copies of that card, and that card is also searchable with cards like Hysteric Sign. Sign. So all the cards run very, very well together for those searches. I also run one Harpie's Pet Dragon as another search target for your Harpie Chandler to summon out into the field and then go into rank 7 plays, or even just have a boost in power with this card with all the different Harpie ladies on the field. For more of the other resources, I run one Barrier Statue of Stormwinds and one Zephyros the Elite. The Zephyros with our field spell definitely does come in handy. It conflicts sometimes with the Barrier Statue of Stormwinds, but still they run very well in different aspects of playstyle in the deck, whether it be for the graveyard setup of Zephyros or just the restrictions that your Barrier Statue of Stormwinds has on the field against your opponent. And lastly, for the main deck playstyle monsters, one Tempest Dragon, Ruler of Storms, another dragon to work with your Harpie monsters. Even if you don't have Harpie's Pet Dragon, if you at least were to have Harpie Chandler on the field and then summon Tempest Dragon out normally, it'll make your Harpie Chandler become level 7 and give you another rank 7 play to go into. And then lastly, for the monsters in the main deck, I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, just the hand trap of choice. If you wanted to try other cards like Effect Veiler, or even other ones that give you resources for stopping your opponent, like Nibiru, you can always put them in as a test card. I just prefer Ash Blossom being the card to restrict your opponent in any of their searches or graveyard setup. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Hysteric Sign. When this card is activated, you add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. During the end phase of this turn, this card was on the field or hand to the graveyard. You can add up to 3 Harpie cards with different names from your deck to your hand. You can activate 1 Hysteric Sign effect per turn, only once that turn. So once again, this card can be activated and searched for your Elegant Egotist. Then you can destroy it with cards like Harpie's Hunting Ground when you summon a Harpie monster on the field, and then gain the additional search at the end of the turn. That's why you like to run 3 of this card, so you always have this search option available to you for this card to use as that resource. For the field spell I spoke of just a second ago, 2 Harpie's Hunting Ground. This card is searchable with Harpie Queen, but also all Winged Beast type monsters gain 200 attack, and when a Harpie or Harpie Lady Sister is normal or special summon, the player who conducted the summon targets a spell or trap on the field and destroys it. So you can destroy your Hysteric Sign. That's what you mostly want to target with this card for any of your own destruction to gain the search at the end of the turn, but you can also just clear your opponent's back row. We have other cards that can do that in the deck, but this one I would say is the most consistent in doing so. The searchable card off of Hysteric Sign is Elegant Egotist. 2 of these cards as well. If Harpie Lady is on the field, special summon 1 Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sister from your hand or deck. So you can target your Harpie Lady 1 with this card most of the time, but most of the time you want to go for your Harpie Lady Sister, gain the additional options with cards like Harpie Perfumer on the field when this card also resolves on the field, or just being able to summon it on the field and then being able to summon out your Harpie Conductor from your hand to the field thanks to this card. And for some of the one-ofs, I run 1 Alluring Mirror Split. When a Harpie or Harpie Lady Sister you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 Harpie monster from your deck with a different original name than that monster. And if you control a Harpie card or effect in your opponent's card effect, you can target 1 Harpie monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So just more resources. You can keep the Harpie monsters coming on the field with recycle power in the form of Harpie's Feather Rest, being able to shuffle back 3 Harpie Lady and or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard, and then draw 1 card. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, when you activate this, you can draw 2 cards instead. And then for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon except for Wind, but really not a limitation with how many Wind monsters we're running in this deck. I also run 1 Harpie Feather Duster to finish off the one of Harpie spells in the deck, just another destruction option with this card, and also more of the resources to rely on. And as for some of the other generic spells, I run 2 World Legacy Succession. We have a Harpie Link monster in the form of Harpie Conductor. So as another special summon option from the graveyard for more and more resources, I really do like running 2 of this as that playstyle to go into. I also run 1 Monster Reborn as more special summoning from the graveyard, 1 Call by the Grave to stop our opponent's resources in their own graveyard or their hand traps, and 1 Foolish Barrow. This is mostly to set up the Zephyros the Elite as a monster to then summon back onto the field, but still a great one to then return our field spell or any of our continuous spells back to our hand to summon out onto the field. Excuse me. It was definitely been a long day of deck profiles, but with the spells finished, we're moving on now to the traps. I run 3 Harpie's Feather Storms. If you control a Wind or Winged Beast type monster until the end of this turn, negate any monster effects your opponent activates. If you control a Harpie monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So a great trap in sense of that. It also has Harpie in the name, so it's an added bonus for that, but it's mostly used for the option also if it's destroy its owner spell and trap card zone by an opponent's card effect. You can add 1 Harpie's Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So if your opponent does destroy this card, you have the resource to add right here to then just take care of a good number of your opponent's back row, since they tried to do the same to you against this card. And then lastly, for the final trap in the main deck, I run 1 Hysteric Party. You activate this card by discarding 1 card, special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady as possible from your graveyard, and when this face-up card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. You can even discard other cards like Hysteric Sign to gain the playstyle this card is meant to design around. So then giving you more search power, but also just a bunch of resources back on the field for you to use for your extra deck plays. Speaking of which, we'll now move on to the extra deck. I would run 2, but I only have the 1 Cyber/Harpie Lady. You need 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner monster. For this card's synchro, you can treat 1 Harpie monster you control as a tuner. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard, and when a spell or trap or effect is activated except during the damage step. Quick effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls or 1 Harpie monster you control, return it to the hand. You can only use this effect of Cyber/Harpie Lady once per turn. The high level Harpie requirements is a big part of it, but just being able to bounce a monster your opponent controls may take away from resources they may need to do some of their plays, and then revolve around the many different traps and spells you run that you can activate in response to your opponent's own effects, including cards like your field spell when you were to activate a Harpie monster effect, destroying a card, or even just many of the traps like I spoke of. And then for the Xyz monsters, I run 1 Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Pet Dragon as another XYZ option. To summon out, it can only be applied and resolve while it has material. This card can attack your opponent directly, and your opponent cannot target any Harpie monsters with effects for their attacks during your end phase. Detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Protection for your Harpie monsters. It's a big part of why we run this for the play. For the other XYZ monsters, 1 Castel, 1 Lightning Chidori, 1 Daigasto Emerald, and the 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus for the Xyz plays to go into as a bigger boss monster, 1 Abyss Dweller for more graveyard shutdown plays, and spoke of it already earlier in the video, but the 1 number 11 Big Eye to go with our dragon monsters and our Harpie Chandler. For the Link monsters, I run 1 Harpie Conductor. You just need 2 wind monsters to make it. Its name becomes Harpie Lady while in the field or graveyard. If a Harpie monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy 1 spell or trap you control instead. And if another face-up Harpie monster you control returns to the hand except during the damage step, you can target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So another great way to make use of Hysteric Sign. I'll show some combos at the end of the video on how to make full use of this Link monster. But for the other Link monsters, I run 1 Great Fly, 1 Win the Wind Charmer Verdant, 1 High Speed Roid Rubber Band Shooter for the additional normal summon option, 1 Havresker for the Desperate Doom Eagle, 1 Cross Sheep, and 1 Nightmare Phoenix to finish off the rest of the Link monsters. And as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, one of the easiest ways to summon out your Cyber/Harpie Lady is just with Harpie Chandler, being able to then discard a Harpie card, which then, depending on which one you discard, can give you more search power at the end of the turn. But with that discard, you'll summon out another Harpie monster onto the field, and with it counting as the option for the synchro play, you can then use one of them as a tuner to summon out your Cyber/Harpie Lady. If you went second against your opponent and they have a monster on the field, summoning out your Cyber/Harpie Lady just gives you a resource to then activate cards like your Hysteric Sign, which when you do that, you can then activate your Cyber/Harpie Lady to bounce a card your opponent controls on their field, adding the Elegant Egotist to your hand. Since you control Harpie Lady in the form of Cyber/Harpie Lady, you can activate Elegant Egotist to then summon out your Harpie Lady sister to the field, giving you that other monster resource to then have. If you have your field spell, when summoning this card out, you can then target and destroy your Hysteric Sign on the field, gaining you the additional search at the end of the turn while still having these 2 strong boss monsters that are powered up thanks to your field spell also. And with it, more requirements, you can summon out cards like your Harpie Oracle from your hand since you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, giving you that summon. You could also destroy more of your opponent's back row using this card. But the Link monster play can also come up with cards like Harpie Chandler, giving you the option to then summon these 2 cards, going for the Link monster, which would be your Harpie Conductor. Summoning out your Harpie Conductor, if a Harpie monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy a spell or trap you control, going for the same applied effect of Hysteric Sign to add the Elegant Egotist to your hand, can then summon out more monsters if another face-up Harpie returns to your hand, except during the damage step. With this play, you can also then rely on the Harpie Lady Sister summon with your Harpie Lady Sister, giving you more of an option for battle or card effect to destroy a spell or trap with many of the different Harpie Lady Sisters you have on the field, thanks to the protection of your continuous spell. I like to go for the synchro play more, but having the Link monster option is just an added bonus depending on the resources you have on your field or in your hand also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. As always, I love updating the Harpie deck. Hopefully we'll get the new support soon as well, because then with that new dragon support especially, it does add more to the playstyle that the deck can do as a whole. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.